Hello and welcome back to the Elite Challenge. In the last tournament we saw a record-setting affair with 22 competitors getting to stage 2 and a further 6 getting all the way to the third stage. Unfortunately the final stage still remains elusive, but FreeMMO Direct just edged out Kiraria for a first place finish. Now with 100 more competitors waiting in the wings, let's see how they get on with the Elite Challenge Tournament 14. As always, we start at the beginning, and with a somewhat of a new look stage 1, competitors will have 2 minutes on the clock, and the first obstacle they will face is the brand new turbines. 4 rings with spinning bars in between. You've got to avoid them, make your way across to the new look waveform, returning after a few tournaments on the sideline. Has been modified and only featuring 2 rings this time. Then we have the returning bar crawl, the 8 bars, jump up, jump along, and then make the dismount before you're greeted with the ever-present the wall. Make your way up the pegs along the top and you are greeted with the rolling log. Hop on the log and take a trip down the track. Make your dismount onto a narrowed landing platform. Then you have the curtain slider. Make the jumps between the ledges on the angled wall. Clear the gap and you're greeted by the new tree of woe. Make your way up the bars and to the next platform before you take on Crash Mountain. That's all that's standing between you and the finish. Make your way up the track, dealing with the balls in any way you can, and hit the buzzer. And if you can make that in 120 seconds or less, you'll be taking a trip to stage 2. Let's see how our competitors get on. And first up, we have a long-time competitor but a newcomer to the Elite Challenge. This is Sakeshi. Very familiar name for fans of Halo Ninja Warrior and Ninja Warrior of Halo. Sakeshi dipping his toe into the Elite Challenge for the first time and beating the turbines in quick order. Likewise the waveform, now onto the bar crawl. Third bar for Sakeshi. Fourth. Now it starts to go for distance, and Sakeshi using the angles. Nearly overshoots, manages to correct. Sakeshi, side to side, makes the dismount and lands it, now onto the wall. Sakeshi starts to climb using that right hand side path. Lining up the next jump, and overcorrects, and Sakeshi can't pull it back this time. Sakeshi is out. Next up is Keckers attacking the course with some gusto. Really avoiding those bars with some skill on the turbines. Makes the jump into the waveform, makes the transfer, makes the dismount. Keckers now onto the bar crawl. Looking a little bit ropey instantly, but gets it back under control. Keckers starts to climb. Now starts going for distance. And making the dismount. Keckers looking good thus far. Now onto the wall. This is what took out Sakeshi. And Keckers comes up short. Keckers is out. Up next, we have a newcomer to the Halo jumping scene. This is Carson-Ioski, and he's off for his 120 seconds straight into the turbines, making light work of them early on. Now dropping into the waveform. Carson makes the transfer and the dismount. Now onto the bar crawl. Completely skips the first ledge entirely. Carson proving he's meaning business early on in this stage. Beats the bar crawl, makes the landing. 95 seconds still left onto the wall. And another competitor going for that right hand side path. Carson makes it all the way up to the top and will be the first competitor today to attempt the rolling log. Jumps on, shoots the log, gets it rolling. Carson looking to control the descent. The log speeding up, Carson with the save. And he's going to overshoot the landing platform. Carson-Ioski is out. Up next is Warrior 15, another newcomer, a friend of Tricky Cyrus. Coming to the course for the first time and out already. That is a disappointment for Warrior. Up next is I Eat Bricks, and he's not going to make the first jump either. Now on to a contestant with some more experience. This is Mickey Cop 8, his 10th appearance on the Elite Challenge. He's made it to the 4th obstacle a couple of times, but he won't make it there today. Mickey Cop is out as well. Up next at number several is Flamosaurus, doing it for his favourite Survivor player, Jelinski. And Flame gets knocked off by the bar, so in true Jelinski tribute is out early. Up next is the returning Alpha Puma, returning for the first time since Tournament 3, and Puma launches into the turbines, and he's going to get nudged off as well. Puma down and out, and he won't be pleased with that. Up next is Gendog. He's coming off of a personal best in the last tournament. Let's see how he fares. 120 seconds underway, and Gendog into the turbines, taking it a bit safer, timing the jumps. A little bit less than the full send strats we've seen before, but it works nonetheless. Dropping into the waveform, makes the transfer. Gendog for the dismount, lands it. Lining up the bar crawl. This is a bit of a sketchy obstacle for him, but he's keeping it cool. Makes the climb, now onto going for distance, not height. Gendog with the dismount, lands it. Now onto the wall. He's come up short here before, but Gendog lining up the early jumps to the 3rd peg, the 4th, and the 5th. He can make it from here, and he does. Now onto the rolling log. Gendog sets it off in front of him, trying to save a bit of time, but he's hanging on the back. Gendog's got to get it back under control. He does to some degree, but he slips off nonetheless, and Gendog down and out. And very quickly we're down now to our 10th competitor. This is Rivalis. He made his debut in the last tournament. He's been doing very well on other courses in the meantime, so let's see if his second performance on the Elite Challenge can live up to the hype. Quickly through the turbines, quicker than our camera can fly. Now onto the waveform. Rivalis makes the dismount. Onto the bar crawl, starts to climb. Now going for distance. Making sure to land each one, not overcorrecting and panicking. Now onto the wall. Sticking to that right hand side, Rivalis climbing. Starts to switch back. Makes the skip up to the top. Now onto the rolling log. Can he be the first person to beat this today? As Rivalis shoots the log, keeping it under control as best he can. Early save once, twice, thrice, and lets himself drop onto the platform, and now the curtain slider. This is a very tricky obstacle indeed, but Rivalis making it look fairly straightforward. Has to stop for a save jump on that 5th ledge, goes up high and keeps going higher and higher. Rivalis to the dismount, and he's gonna land it. Now onto the tree of woe, jumping into that 2nd cross, making the climb up. Can make it off from here, but chooses to go 1 higher to make an easier jump. Now Rivalis, 40 seconds to go. He's waiting for a gap in the bulls on Crash Mountain, and off he goes. Rivalis from France, punching the balls, trying to make progress. It's slow but steady. 25 seconds left now, and he's got a bit of a gap. He's got to sprint for it. Rivalis, he's just wailing away on the balls, and they nearly roll him off. Great save though. Time's ticking away. 15 seconds now for Rivalis. You've got to hurry. Come on. The buzzer is about to sound, and Rivalis, he's got a few stacked up on him, but he's only going 1 by 1. Rivalis, 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. Makes the jump round the balls, makes it to the platform, but time's out before he can hit the buzzer. That was so close there from Rivalis. He will be disappointed with that one, but still a great showing on the first stage. Up next is Mr. Random 287, returning also after debuting in the last tournament. He's going to go up the side of the turbines, going for a bit of height, but he hits his head on that 3rd bar, and Mr. Random is out. Up next, very experienced competitor, the 11th appearance for the Dutchman, Bussy, and he's also going to go full send through the turbines. Maybe that's the strat. Bussy still sprinting, drops into the waveform, makes the transfer, and makes the dismount. Bussy going very quick today. Hugging to the side of the bar crawl, using the structure to help keep him in place all the way to the top. He's going to go for the dismount and lands it just shy of 95 seconds. Now onto the wall. This has beaten him before, and it's going to beat him again today. Bussy down and out. Up next is Pixel Kitty. She's going to be attempting the course. Her 120 seconds is underway. And another competitor going to the side for a bit of height on the turbines. Pixel Kitty waiting for the bars to be in a good spot before committing to the jump. Doesn't want to get hit like Mr. Random did before. Makes it all the way to the third ring. Now lining up the jump to the fourth and final ring. Can Pixel Kitty make it? Waits for the bars to do another rotation. Goes for it and comes up short. Pixel Kitty down and out. Next up is debutante Dodger Cyclops. His 120 seconds underway. And interestingly going to the left of the rings. Trying to slot in behind the bars. Definitely a strategy to that. And Dodger Cyclops to the third ring but slips off. His debut is cut short. Up next now, Deadaweight UK. How will he fare? 120 seconds underway. Almost overjumps that first ring, but manages to pull it back enough. Choosing to wait for the bars to pass once again, trying to time the jump. And goes for it, makes the second ring. Waiting for the bars to pass again. Goes for the third. Makes it just about in between before the bars hit him. And Deadaweight to that fourth ring. He's going to let the bars pass one more time and then go for the landing. Now dropping into the waveform a bit gingerly. Deadaweight picks the pace up, goes for a low sprint, but he's going to make it. And makes the dismount. Now onto the bar crawl. Trying to line this up. Deadaweight goes for it. Uses the structure to drop down onto that first bar. Now goes up sideways, but hits his head. Deadaweight down and out on the third bar there. Next up is the German Shaxbird. And he's going to head into the turbines for his 120 seconds. Going high. And comes up short of that second ring as well. Shaxbird down and out. Up next is Coveralis, who's coming off of a back-to-back 98 equal position. He had a good performance in the last tournament though. Can he keep the streak alive? Makes it to the second ring. Goes for the third with the sandwich, but doesn't pay off. And Coveralis down and out. Next up we have Kimchi Yaru for his 11th appearance. 120 seconds on the clock. Kimchi launches into the first ring. Second, third, picking the pace up. There's the fourth. No, he doesn't get it. He comes up short. Kimchi, I think, jumped a bit too high into it there. Next up is Virus GR42. And he's going to wait for an opportunity into the turbines. Another competitor waiting for the bars to pass. Virus getting up close and personal with the camera. Gonna jump behind the bar to the third ring. Lining up the fourth, waiting for the gap, and he makes it. Now on to the waveform. He's recently made his debut on Irish Warrior, and he's gonna come up short on the waveform transfer. Virus down and out. Next up is Tarmac Griffin 42. Still promising to use all of his skill and experience, but starting to become quite experienced at this course now. Another person wielding the sandwich, and he's going to make it to that second ring. Waiting for the bars to come around once again before he goes for the third, and he's going to jump into the spinning bar. Tarmac Griffin down and out. Up next, another debutante. This is Invoicing Corgi. How will she fare on the Elite Challenge debut? 120 seconds are underway. Straight to the second ring. Going for the third, makes it. Lining up the fourth, gets clipped by the bar just coming down, and that kills the speed, and kills the height, and kills the run. Next up, sneaking in from the side of the stage, this is McCoffovan. We've seen his countryman Rivalis time out right at the end. Let's see if this Frenchman can do any better. Now to the second ring, but comes up short of the third, and McCoffovan, another competitor, out early. Next up is Grin of the Cat. a very good Dota player. Will the skills transfer between the MOBA and the parkour competition on the first-person shooter game? Certainly approaching with confidence, zigzagging, choosing to open the time window up himself. And he's going to make the hop, and he's going to beat the turbines, dropping straight in now to the waveform. Makes the transfer, and the dismount. Now on to the bar crawl. Going up sideways, proving to be a very common strat for this obstacle, but Grin of the Cat's overshot that 6th ledge, and his run's going to end there. Up next is Creepy Tomcat, the 3rd competitor this tournament who's been in every single one of the elite challenges up until this point, and he's finally found the armor customization. And Creepy Tomcat choosing to go very high on the turbines, about as high as he can. He's using that height to make the distance to the 3rd ring, waiting for a gap to go for the 4th, and he's gonna make it. Now here comes the waveform, swapping between the colors of swords. I'm sure there's a technique to that. Creepy Tomcat lining it up, makes the transfer with a low jump, now going for the dismount, lands it. Now onto the bar crawl, onto the 1st ledge. Gets up to the 2nd, changes the swords again, now up to the 3rd. Time ticking away, but he's only going for progress at this point. Creepy Tomcat to the 4th ledge. Changes color of swords again, and clearly red was unlucky. He's overshot the 5th one. Next up is the returning Sherman. His 120 seconds have begun as he launches into the turbines. Waiting for the bars to pass. Another competitor using that left-hand side, but he's going to come up short, and Sherman is out. Next up we have Truls Olsen from Norway. Let's see how far he can go. He's made it pretty far in the 2 previous tournaments. So can Truls make it a 3-peat of deep stage 1 runs? He's made it through the first obstacle with seeming ease. Now lining up the waveform. Drops in. Starts to sprint. Makes the transfer, lands it, and the dismount. Lands that as well. Now onto the bar crawl. Choosing to hug up against the structure on that left hand side. Truls making the jumps up. Now to the 5th ledge, the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, goes for the big dismount. He's going to land it now onto the wall. Going to the left, the first competitor we've seen go this way today. Making sure he's got the height, then goes for distance. Truls climbing the wall. Almost overjumped that 3rd ledge, but pulled it back in time. Lands the 4th one neatly. Going for the 5th ledge, makes it. One more for Truls, choosing to go back to the left, all the way up to the top, now onto the rolling log. Opens fire, gets it rolling, hops aboard. Before the train left the station, Truls looking a little bit all over the place, but saves it, and he's going to make the dismount. Now onto the curtain slider, 35 seconds to go, time's really against him, but Truls has made it this far already. Makes the drop down, goes for distance, makes that as well, but slips and slides and falls off. Truls Olsen off on the curtain slider. Up next is newcomer Boosted. He's going to line up his jump, but he's going to undershoot the first jump. Boosted down and out. And that's going to bring us on to Fragile NW. He's a newcomer to the Elite Challenge, but he's a frequent competitor in other courses. A PC gamer trained up by Frimimo Direct, and if you know anything about Free, you know that means this guy's gonna be good. Beats the turbines with ease, dropping into the waveform, goes for a very high transfer, makes it nonetheless. Big dismount, now onto the bar pool. First bar, straight to the 2nd and the 3rd. Fragile climbing, using the angles. 7th rung, 8th rung, big dismount for Fragile, lands it, now onto the wall. First peg, up to the 2nd. Making sure he's not going to hit his head, backing up a bit, almost undershot that 3rd. Choosing to go hard left, but he's going to hit his head there, and Fragile drops out. And the wall claims yet another victim. Here's someone that hasn't had problems with it in the past though. This is Ryan. And Ryan returning after a few impressive runs. He got to Crash Mountain 2 tournaments ago. And another competitor leaving the camera behind in the turbines. Ryan flying through onto the waveform, beats that with ease. Now onto the bar crawl, starts to climb all the way to the top of the bar crawl, makes the dismount, lands it, now onto the wall. Choosing to go for that familiar right hand path. Ryan all the way up to the top, makes the skip. Now on the run to the rolling log. Sends it off in front of him, makes the jump. Looking really under control there. Ryan goes for the early dismount, makes it nonetheless, straight into the curtain slider, still with 75 seconds left on the clock at the beginning of the obstacle. Ryan makes the save, goes up high, dropping back down. And Ryan now onto the tree of woe. Starts to climb up to that third cross, fourth cross, lines up the fifth. Makes it to the dismount platform from there. Over 50 seconds left now onto Crash Mountain. Ryan against the bulls. They've taken him out before. He's making progress, keeping it low to the ground. If your feet are on the ground, you're unlikely to get knocked up in the air. Ryan making it all the way up to the top. 35 seconds to go. But he gets pinged into the air. Manages to land it further down. Ryan with a brilliant save. Hopping about, mistimes his jump a little there. He's got to get around the waterfall, and he does very skillfully. He does a corner wrap around the bulls, and that is going to be the first clear of the day. Number 29 once again coming in clutch, and Ryan will be taking on stage 2 for his first time. 21.53 seconds so far, the mark to beat on stage 1. Way to go, Ryan. Can Wi-Fi join him? Fix the Wi-Fi, another person on their 4th appearance on the Elite Challenge. Wi-Fi off for his 120 seconds and attacking the turbines, making it through with ease. Now dropping into the waveform. First ring, makes the transfer, lands it, goes for the dismount, lands that as well. Wi-Fi nearly overshoots the first bar of the bar crawl. Very good save. Starts to climb up to the higher section, all the way up to the edge, and he overjumps the last bar, and Wi-Fi is down and out. Next up, Kyle Shambeg 2. His 6th appearance. He's been on and off competing since the very beginning of the Elite Challenge, and he's going to zoom through the turbines, but no, he's going to come up short of that 4th ring, and Kyle is out. Another competitor returning for the sequel act. This is Caleb Plays. He's going to line up that first jump. Use the fact that the clock only starts when you make your first jump. Lets you be able to time the first obstacle. And Caleb, he's had a plan, and he jumps over the bar at the final to make the dismount. Now into the waveform, dropping in. Big high transfer, lands that. Goes for the dismount, lands that as well. Caleb now onto the bar crawl, and he's going to overshoot the first ledge, and unlike Wi-Fi, he's not going to be able to pull it back. Next up is MVSTCR. He's been escorted to the course by Frimomo, and he's overshot the first ring. Now here comes Double J for his 120 seconds. He's going to land that first ring. Nearly pulls it back a bit too far. Goes for the second. Lands it right on the edge, but he's going to slip off after the bar moves past him. Another debutant now. This is 9th Bicycle 37. And he's going to wait for the bars to pass down the center of the turbines, and 9th Bicycle beats the obstacle. Now he's going to drop into the waveform onto that first ring, trying to line up the run to the second, and he's overshot it, and 9th Bicycle is out. Next up is Halo Nut, and he's not going to last long. West Tech now lining up for his 120 seconds, and he's going to overshoot. He tried to skip to that second ring. Let's see if Brown Nizzle has worked that out. His 120 seconds, and he's done the same thing. Brown Nizzle down and out. And Dayvision, he's gone as well. Competitors falling like flies. This is Wanting Beetle 96. He's made that first ring, and he's come up short of the second as well. Now back to a competitor who's had some success before. This is Nike 2000. He got to the second stage back in Tournament 11. But he's going to mistime it, and he's going to slip off as well. Next up, another Halo racer. He's returning for his 6th appearance. This is Brendan, the host of Halo Track's Draft series, and he's going to make mincemeat of the turbines, showing the previous competitors how it's done. Brendan now through the waveform, and he's going to overcorrect on the transfer. Brendan out early. Next up, another member of the Halo racing community. This is Opixonic, the organizer of the yearly Track Madness tournament, where voting is still ongoing. And Opix, he's going to breeze through the turbines as well, now lining up his drop in to the waveform. Goes for the transfer, he's going to land it, and he's going to make the dismount. Now onto the bar crawl for Opix. 2nd bar, comes up short of the 3rd. Having a little bit of problems. Opix, get it back together, keeps climbing. Now onto the distance jumps, and with a big dismount, Opix beats the bar crawl. Now onto the wall. Sticking to the right, Opix climbing all the way up to the top, and Opix has beaten the wall. Still over 75 seconds left now as he's going to shoot the log off in front of him. Make the jump to the rolling log. Opix looking like he's surfing it down, goes for the dismount, lands it. Now Opix versus the curtain slider. This is a very deep run so far from Opix. Can he keep this momentum up? Makes the drop down, goes for the distance, and he's going to slip off. Opix sprint up the angle, and he's going to slip off the ledge. So now we have the return of DRL host Spider Case. His 120 seconds off, and he barely gets started. He's hit the first bar. Next up is J-Stud Roblox. His 120 seconds are underway as J-Stud into the turbines. Makes it to the 2nd and the 3rd. Goes for the 4th. He's going to make the landing. Now dropping into the waveform. J-Stud going for the transfer, and he's going to slip off. Tried to be a bit quick with it and came up short. Up next, 12th appearance for Hi, I'm Galactic. And Galactic's been pushing for a stage 1 clear the entire time, getting close on a number of occasions. And he's going to quickly beat the turbines, now dropping into the waveform. Galactic knows he's got to go fast to have some time left in the bank at the end of the stage. And he's very quickly now climbing up the bar crawl. Ledge number 7, ledge number 8, big dismount. Galactic, over 90 seconds left, taking on the wall. Going for the left hand diagonal, all the way up to the top. Hi, I'm Galactic, smooth as you like. 80 seconds to go, shoots the rolling log. And Galactic trying to keep it under control. Log starts to pick up speed. Galactic makes the landing. Another competitor onto the curtain slider. This is a good run for Galactic. Makes the drop down, goes for distance, save jumps, keeps it back under control, goes back up high, goes for the high ledge but overshoots the lower ledge. Undershot the high ledge, overshot the low ledge, and Galactic out once again. Up next is Labrat, returning from debut in the last tournament. And Labrat really enjoying a good 2nd spell of his Halo jumping career. Previously competed back in Halo 4. And Labrat quickly through the first 2 obstacles. Still not lacking in skill. Starts to climb up the bar crawl. Ledge 7, ledge 8, goes for the big dismount. Lands it. And now Labrat onto the wall. Keeping to that right hand side, Labrat makes it all the way to the top. And another competitor, about 80 seconds, choosing to reset the log just for a bit of peace of mind. Labrat, he's trying to run it backwards, bringing back the style of Dom de Bomb X, but Labrat, the log's going to roll away from him and he's going to get dropped into the water. Labrat down and out. The crazy strat, and it hasn't worked out. Up next is Alex Halo. He's going to launch into the course and launch out of the course. Alex Halo, that is a shocker. Out very early indeed. Next up is the returning Bubba Ace. Always good to see Bubba on the course. And his 120 seconds have begun. Bubba timing his jumps through, second ring, goes for the third, and the fourth. Bubba beats the turbines, lining up a drop into the waveform, choosing to land on the ledge instead of drop straight in, but goes for it on the second attempt. Bubba low dismount, he's gonna make it, now onto the bar crawl. Centering up, keeping on save jumping, now starting to climb. Bubba's got a method, he's jumping once and then making the progress, and it's working out for him pretty well. Bubba, one more ledge to go. Now the big dismount, and Bubba Ace beats the bar crawl. Now he's onto the wall. Bit slower than some other competitors, but Bubba staying alive. He even manages to save that misstep on that second ledge. Bubba still climbing, still working to his strategy. Time ticking away, but Bubba makes the skip, nearly walks off the side there. That would have been not a great way to go out, but saves it. And Bubba onto the rolling log, lining it up, bit gingerly getting it going. Bubba hanging on the front, waiting a while before he saves, goes for the dismount, lands it. Time really against Bubba now, less than 30 seconds onto the curtain slider. He's saving the ledges, but each jump he makes forward is good progress. And Bubba makes the jump, the distance. Now can he make the height? No, he slipped off. Bubba Ace down and out, and the curtain slider claiming another victim. Up next is Avows the Samurai. Another person who you'd think a stage 1 success would be coming sooner rather than later, and he's going to attack the turbines through it as quick as that. Less than 6 seconds before he's back out the other side, and now dropping into the waveform. Avows with a good transfer, makes the landing, makes the dismount, now onto the bar crawl. Second bar, third, takes a second, fourth, fifth, 6, 7, 8. And Avows with the big dismount, above 90 seconds now to the wall. First 3 obstacles beaten in 30 seconds. Seems to be a good pace for competitors thus far, and Avows scampering up the wall all the way to the top. Now comes the rolling log. Avows hops on, gets the log rolling, keeping it controlled on the descent. Save jump once, twice, doesn't get a third though. And Avows down on the rolling log. Past the halfway point now is Chewbacca 226, and he's going to overshoot the first ring on the turbines. Now how will Orcus Ghoul do? His 120 seconds are on the clock, and he also's overshot. That's 2 competitors out very quick indeed. Next up, Yusuf Walid 598. And he's going to miss the jump as well. Yusuf down and out. Next up, Catju 972. And he's also going to overshoot the first ring on the turbines. These turbines are proving a lethal obstacle for many of the competitors. SMN Crid, he's going to try and skip to the second one, but he's going to come up short. Now how will Arayan do? His 120 seconds are on the clock, and Arayan holding back, but doesn't hold back enough. He's dropped out as well. Now we have a competitor with a good taste of success on this course. This is Sane the Legend. 3 times a stage 1 clearest, but it's not going to be for Sane, down and out on that second ring. Now we have another competitor. This is Whirlpool, new to the Halo jumping scene, but having a lot of potential. How will he fare for his 120 seconds? As he's getting nudged by the second bar. Whirlpool comes up short as a result. It's another person out. Next up we have Matty the Div, the second best placed newcomer from the last tournament, so big things expected from Matty. Makes it to the second ring quickly, but he's gonna hit the bar, and Matty the Div's run is over. Now how will I Am 7 Unheard do? He's gonna overcorrect on that first ring, and then his friend All Day Gritty hit. He's gonna make that first jump, lines up the second, and All Day Gritty hit doesn't make it. Comes up short of that second ring. It's been a wave of failures for the turbines. Next up we have Oligor 360. He's going to land that first ring, and he's going to land the second ring. There's a good chance here. Oligor to the third ring and the fourth. and he's beaten the turbines. Now dropping into the waveform, lands it on the first ring, gets up high, makes a transfer, he's going to land it. Oligor with a bit of a different strategy to many people, he's walking up as hard as he can and then jumping for the platform. Now onto the bar crawl, and he's going to slide off that second bar, Oligor down and out. Up next is another newcomer, this is Kevdrew, and he's armed with the turret, seems determined to make it. He's made the first jump with the turret, but he's not going to make the second one, gets denied by the bar. Kevdrew is out. Next up is Tim Grand NL, another Dutchman onto the course, straight to the second ring and the third, waiting for the bars to pass, goes for the fourth and beats the turbines. Now dropping into the waveform, lining up the jump, making the transfer, but he also, just like someone earlier, has not made it and came up short of the dismount. Next up is James 2012. He's going to go down the center of the turbine, straight to the second ring, waits for the bars to pass, but he's going to clip it on jump, and James is out as well. Next up is Lord Demonic Blood. Makes to the first ring, he instantly gets hit and goes out the same way as Whirlpool did. That's a shame. Next up, TX Hot T. Made a breakthrough for himself in the last tournament, was part of the record-setting clear group. Didn't have the best run on stage 2, but TX Hot T survives 2 brushes quickly with the turbines. He's going to make it through. Now dropping into the waveform. TX Hot T, formerly known as TX Drew TV, changed his gamertag just before the previous tournament. It brought him success, and now he's looking for a repeat. Went out early on the second stage last time, so he's got revenge on his mind. And TX Hot T now onto the wall. Starts to climb. Make sure he's not going to bang his head. Up to that third peg, the fourth peg. Lines up the fifth, and he's going to slip off, and he doesn't save it further down, and TX Hot T, the revenge arc on stage 2, will have to wait. Up next is Mighty Max 80, returning last competed in tournament 11. But previously went on a 3 tournament streak of clearing stage 1. Can he recapture that glory? Now he's on the third ring to the fourth, and Mighty Max makes it through the turbines, now dropping into the waveform. First ring, lines up the second, saves it, lines up the dismount, makes it. Now Mighty Max versus the bar crawl. Looked like he went for the skip there, but he hit the bar. Got dropped down to the bottom, but he's climbing well nonetheless. Using the angles to make the landings longer. Mighty Max all the way up to the top. Drops down and now attacking the wall. Mighty Max saving, sticking to that right hand side, makes the turn around. Back up. Gonna try and make the skip to the top, doesn't work on the first attempt, or the second, or the third. Fourth time's the charm though for Mighty Max. Now onto the rolling log. He's defeated him before, so he knows to be wary of it. Lines himself up above the rail. Mighty Max, he's going to slide off the front, but the log's going to keep pushing him and pushing him off. Mighty Max down and out. Next up is K-Fly, another competitor who got his first taste of success in the previous tournament. He's been competing from the beginning, took him 13 tournaments to get to stage 2 for the first time. Can he go back to back today? Quickly through the turbines, makes the transfer on the waveform, makes the dismount, lands that as well. K-Fly, up the bar crawl, up to the top, going for distance very quickly all the way through, lands it. 25 seconds only gone, beat the first 3 obstacles. K-Fly moving well today. All the way up the wall, easy as pie. Now looking at the rolling log. Sends the log off ahead of him, K-Fly. Early save, second save, goes for a third. And the dismount, has to pull it back but makes the landing platform. And K-Fly now onto the curtain slider, looking very good today. Makes it to that fourth ledge. Saves it, goes for the sprint, saves again, goes up high, K-Fly, going for the low ledge, But he undershoots that final ledge. K-Fly looking so good, but one mistake and it's all over. Up next is Spenny37. He got his clear on stage 1 back in tournament 5, but he's not seemed the same since. And Spenny quickly through the turbines, dropping now into the waveform. Big sprint, low transfer. Spenny goes very, very high on the second one, almost undershoots the landing, but he's going to make it. Now climbing up the bar crawl, 4th bar, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and Spenny going for the landing. Still 90 seconds to go on landing, and Spenny climbing the wall. And he's going to undershoot that 5th ledge. He's going to save it for a redown though. Spenny, bit of a second lease on life, but it doesn't help him as he undershoots that 3rd peg, and Spenny down and out. Next up is Halo Fan. He's been to stage 2 a couple of times before, looking to get back there again today. Quickly through the first 3 rings, the 4th ring, living life on the edge, barely avoiding the bars, and Halo Fan dropping into the waveform. Makes the transfer and the dismount. Now onto the bar crawl. First bar to the 2nd, Halo Fan climbing very quickly indeed, all the way up to the top. And that's the first 3 obstacles beaten in less than 25 seconds. Halo Fan is motoring. Definitely going for speed. Up the wall in a diagonal, makes it up there as well. Now onto the rolling log. Halo Fan sets it moving. Crouching on the front, trying to stay in control. Log rolling him about. Halo Fan balancing on the back, but he's going to make the landing. Still over 70 seconds to go now into the curtain slider. Halo Fan to that 4th ledge. But he goes up high. He went for the trick ledge, and Halo Fan is out. Next up we have Disappoint. Cleared back in tournament 8 and then once again in the previous tournament. So Disappoint looking for his first back-to-back stage 2. But he's got a very tricky stage in front of him. Disappoint beats the turbines. Now makes the transfer on the waveform all the way across, makes the dismount. Now starts to climb. Disappoint using the angles. Makes it up to the top of the bar crawl. Dismounts. Now onto the wall. Disappoint sticking to that right hand side. He makes the skip as well. Now onto the rolling log. Jumps aboard, unloads the magazine. Early save from Disappoint. He's bunny hopping it all the way down. Disappoint lets the log nudge him onto the landing platform. That was well judged. Next up is the curtain slider. Disappoint starting to build up some momentum now. And he's using the momentum well. He's flown through the obstacle. Beats the curtain slider. Now onto the tree of woe. 2nd X. Up to the 3rd. Lines up to the 4th. Disappoint making sure to make these jumps count. Doesn't want to waste time having to redo them. Now onto Crash Mountain. He beat this in the last tournament. Disappoint standing in the danger zone. Gets pushed back once, twice, but now he's got a gap and he's got room to run. Disappoint head first into the bulls headlong. The unstoppable force meeting the immovable object. It's a physics lesson in action, but Disappoint stacks the balls up, makes the jump. He's going for the sprint again. Can he make it under the waterfall? Not quite. He gets knocked back, but that doesn't matter. Disappoint brute forces through, and we have at last a 2nd stage 1 cleared. Disappoint beats the klaxon, makes it to the end for the 2nd tournament in a row. He'll be heading on to stage 2. Great run, Disappoint. Now, can Gotanks join him? Also been there twice before, just like Disappoint previously. He'd made it back to back in tournaments 7 and 8. Gotanks breezes through the turbines. Now onto the waveform. Makes that look easy as well. Skips straight to the 2nd ledge of the bar crawl does Gotanks. Now he's all the way up to the top. Going for the big dismount. Makes the landing. Now onto the wall. Sticking to that right hand side is Gotanks. All the way up to the top, but he comes up short of that final ledge, slips down, manages to save it further down. Second bite of the cherry for Gotenks, makes it up this time around. Hopefully that hasn't rattled him, as now onto the rolling log. Gotenks getting the log rolling, hanging very far off the front. Moves back towards the middle, makes the save, makes the big dismount, and Gotenks onto the curtain slider. Could this be the third clear for Gotenks, as well as disappoint before him? And he's not made the distance as he jumps up. Gotenks undershoots and slides out, and it won't be a three-peat today for him. Up next is Gaming Brando, 4 times a Stage 2 competitor, but he's coming off his worst performance to date on the Elite Challenge in the last tournament. Brando looking for revenge, he beats the turbines, and if he beats the waveform, he'll have beaten his result from last time, and sure enough he does. Now flying up the bar crawl, Gaming Brando all the way to the top. Big dismount, and Brando now onto the wall. Very familiar with this obstacle, he's beaten it in most of the tournaments it's been in. Makes the skip, and now onto the rolling log. Still over 80 seconds to go as the log starts to move. Brando opening fire into it, makes the save, goes for a very early dismount, but Brando comes up short. Looked like he had a second thought and tried to pull it back, but to no avail. Up next is Speeding Beetle, and he's going to overshoot the first ring. Speeding Beetle down and out the same way we've seen so many people before. Now how will Whatmac do? His 120 seconds on the clock, and likewise he overshoots that first ring. Now up is Farmer Dave, and he's waiting for his moment. 120 seconds are underway, and he's overshot too. Farmer Dave down and out. Next up we have Looper, and he's also going to overshoot. This first ring is at a tricky distance. How will Snug Airplane fare? And he's going to make the landing, but he's going to overcorrect and walk off the back. And that was it for the newcomers. Everybody else has not just been in the Elite Challenge before, they've experienced success before. This is Jun Sato Cyan now attacking the turbines, and he's gone out as well on that third ring, trying to make the jump to it. Up next is Crown Ferret 19, the host of Irish Warrior. Cleared Stage 1 3 times in the past, looking for his 4th appearance on the second stage, and Irish underway. Straight through, zigzagging through the turbines, he's got a strategy. Waits for the bars to pass, and Crown Ferret beats the turbines, now dropping into the waveform. He's come up short on this in the past, and he does it again today. Crown Ferret down and out early. And that doesn't bode well for the next competitor. This is Snoz, and so often have Irish and Snoz had very similar results. So Snoz out for revenge for his fallen comrade. Out to the second ring. Just like Irish, he's zigzagging through the turbines, but chooses to make a break for it through the last 2 rings. Now through the waveform, makes the transfer, makes the dismount, makes the landing. Onto the bar crawl. Another competitor very adept at using the angles to his advantage on obstacles like these. He'll be saying to himself, angles, angles, angles. Up the bar crawl, makes the landing. Now onto the wall. Choosing to go for that first peg. Staying away from the wall itself to not hit his head. Snoz with a bit of hang time there. All the way up to that 5th peg, the 6th, and up and over the wall. Snoz just ticked under 70 seconds to go. Chooses to reset the rolling log. Hops on board, still a minute on the clock. And Snoz under control. Look at that, smooth as you like, down the rolling log, makes the dismount. Now up the curtain slider. This hasn't really caused him a great deal of trouble in the past. He used to full sending this obstacle, and he's going for it again today. Chooses to stop, go up high, and he hesitates to jump down low, and Snoz comes up short, and the curtain slider claims yet another victim. Next up is Pedro Man 618. He's beaten this stage 4 times in the past. Will he make it 5 today? And Pedro into the turbines, showing the first obstacle a healthy dose of respect, trying to jump between the bars and land as they go by. Pedro zigzagging, and he's going to make it through as well. Now dropping into the waveform. Pedro man goes for the transfer, makes it, goes for the landing, makes that as well, and now starts to climb up the bar crawl. You can see what a cautious approach to the turbines costs you. Pedro, he's going to land with 82 seconds on the clock, so that's a good 10 seconds or so he's got to try and find a way to make up against some of the faster competitors through the turbines. But Pedro, sticking to the left-hand side, makes it up the wall with ease. Already back level with what the time that Snoz was at this point as he heads on to the rolling log. Pedro keeping the dismount, and he's overshot the landing. Pedro man down and out. Up next is Caden Wyatt 21. He's cleared 3 times in the past. Caden into the first ring of the turbines, lines up the second, makes the transfer, now lining up the third, waiting on the timing, makes that as well. The camera's getting buffeted about by the spinning bars, but Caden holding firm, goes for the dismount, makes it straight into the waveform, and he's going to come up short on the drop-in. And Caden Wyatt down and out. And next up we have Super Ninja Jake 2. He had an early exit in the last tournament, so he's going to be looking for payback. And Jake through the turbines with ease, dropping into the waveform. Doesn't fall out like Caden. Makes it through and lands it. Skips to the second bar of the bar crawl. Jake meaning business today. Very quickly up sideways. Makes the dismount. 94 seconds on landing. So Jake about as fast as the best of them up until this point, and now scrambling up the wall all the way to the top. Super Ninja Jake rolling log up next. Hops on board, dumps the mag. Log starts to roll. Jake keeping it in control. Goes for an early dismount, lands it. Now onto the curtain slider. First ledge, second ledge, third, goes for the fourth. Straight for the fifth, save jumps. Gets it back under control, hops up high. Goes low but uses the momentum. Super Ninja Jake now onto the Tree of Woe. Onto the second cross. Third, Jake climbing well. Doesn't bonk his head. Lets the balls go through. 43 seconds still on the clock. Super Ninja Jake's got plenty of time. Hurdling the balls. Jumping over them. Now he's up at the top. This is where stuff starts to get more difficult. The balls feel you have less time to plan what you're going to do. But Jake nonetheless through. Makes the jump. Hits the buzzer. 24.53 seconds. It's a big clear there from Super Ninja Jake. And that is our third clear of the day. And still we have 15 of the best competitors waiting in the wings. Including this man. This is Tricky Cyrus. Another person who got their first taste of success in that record-breaking group in the last tournament. Cyrus, the first British halo jumping grand champion. Very proud of that accolade as he's very quickly beaten the first 2 obstacles. Also skips to the second bar of the bar crawl, making the distance all the way up to the top. Makes the landing, now onto the wall. Cyrus moving very well today. All the way up to the top, trying to go for that skip. Makes it on the second time of asking. Now Tricky Cyrus onto the rolling log. Jumps on board. Sends the log on its way. Early save once, twice. Goes for thrice, but he goes for the big dismount, and it's actually a short one, and Tricky Cyrus out. Doesn't manage to go back to back. Next up is a competitor we haven't seen in a good while. Double Ump, the Tournament 2 first place finisher. We haven't seen him since he went out early in Tournament 5. And Ump looking to make a successful return to the course. Beats the turbines, drops into the waveform. Double Ump, well supported in the background. Goes for that low dismount. He's going to make it. Now onto the bar crawl. It's a very different looking course than the course that Ump was one of the early front runners for. 3 clears on the bounce in tournaments 1, 2 and 3. And ump double ump now climbing up the wall all the way to the top. Makes the final jump up and over. 75 seconds on the clock. Not the fastest competitor, but he's making it through nonetheless. Rolling log underway. Ump double ump looking to keep things in control. Sure enough he does. Save jump, wrangle, dismount, and 1 minute left on the clock as ump attacks the curtain slider straight to the second ledge. Saves, goes to the third. Big jump to the fourth, gets it back under control, sprints to the fifth, saves it, goes for the skip, makes it, saves it, manages to pull it back, gets it under control, ump double ump, beats the obstacle, now onto the tree of woe. Ump climbing, very familiar with this sort of obstacle, quite a common end of stage 1. Ump goes all the way up to the top, doesn't need to go quite so high, but that has given him a good run on Crash Mountain. Ump hurdling the balls, jumping over 2 more there. He's jumping off the balls as they're rolling at him. Ump, 10 seconds left on the clock. The klaxon starts to sound. Ump doesn't want to take his feet off the ground though. It's a real game of inches at the top. Ump's running low on time. Ump double ump, makes the jump, makes the landing, hits the buzzer. 0.32. That is a real buzzer beater there from ump double ump. One of the slowest clear times we've ever seen, but it's a clear nonetheless. And ump double ump, for his 4th time, will be moving on to stage 2, making it 4 clears in the day. Now can his Team Abs compatriot Fluffy B make his 4th trip to stage 2? 120 seconds on the clock for Fluffy B. The objective jump host looking to make short work of this course. Won one of the Halo Ninja Warrior awards for the Style Award for the pumpkin on his head. Let's see if it comes in handy here. Fluffy climbing up the bar crawl to the 7th bar and the 8th. Big dismount, lands it, and now onto the wall. Starts to climb, 2nd peg to the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, all the way up to the top. Fluffy now lining up the rolling log. Not really had trouble with this in the past. Hops on board, gets the log going. Going sideways, but he's gonna make it nonetheless. Now onto his old enemy, the curtain slider. Every time he's failed stage 1, he's failed this obstacle, and that's gonna continue. Fluffy B overjumps the 3rd ledge, and he's out again. Next up, we have Smoky Massacre. Armed once again with the plasma pistol. He's preparing for Crash Mountain. Must be confident. And that confidence not really ever misplaced with Smokey. He's one of the best people at this genre. Hosts, the host of Halo Ninja Warrior and an all-star on many other courses. Smokey making light work of the first few obstacles, up the bar crawl with ease. About as fast as it's possible to do it. Smokey now onto the wall. Climbing all the way up, chooses to try to skip, makes it. Now the rolling log, still over 80 seconds left on the clock. Smokey looking good for time, he's looking comfortable on the log. It's knocked him off before, but not today. Smokey makes the landing. Now onto the curtain slider. Straight to that 4th ledge, ups the momentum, goes for the skip. Smokey keeps the momentum going. Still over a minute left now as he hits the Tree of Woe. Starts to climb. Makes it up to that 5th X to the 6th. Choosing whether to go over or under. And he goes over that 7th one. Has to do a little bit of a corner there on the top. But now Smokey onto Crash Mountain. Fully charged plasma pistol into the balls. Does a great job at slowing them down. And Smokey, his technique that he's planned for is worked. A absolute treat all the way across. Shoots the sign, hits the buzzer. Just under 30 seconds remaining on the clock there for Smokey. That is a massive clear time. And Smoky Massacre for his 5th time heading to stage 2, bringing us to 5 total clears. Up next is one of the biggest positive surprises from the last tournament. D-Mills NY, after a Halo jumping career spanning several games, got a stage 1 clear under his belt. The HT Supercross Next contender, making it very deep into the second stage as part of a record-setting cohort. Now he's trying to go back-to-back. D-Mills. First 2 obstacles in the bag already, all the way up to the top of the bar crawl, makes the dismount, makes the landing nice and easy. Starts to climb the wall. The next few obstacles he beat in the last tournament, so if he knows how to do them, it's just a case of getting it done again today. Sends the log off in front of him. D-Mills looking to make some time up. Easily down the log there, lets himself roll onto the platform. Now onto the curtain slider. He's gone out on here before, but he conquered it in the last tournament. Can he do it again? Makes the drop down, going for distance. Saves it, cuts the momentum, goes up high. Goes up high again. D-Mills makes it smooth as can be, all the way up to the top. Makes the dismount. Now onto the Tree of Woe. And he's going to clip his shoulder, and it's going to be enough to force D-Mills off and out. But a great deep stage 1 run yet again from D-Mills. Next up is Eternal Flame 395, one of the most successful competitors on stage 1 in the Elite Challenge history. 6 stage clears, looking to make it 7 today. And a good start quickly through the turbines. Makes the transfer on the waveform, makes the landing, does Eternal, straight into the bar crawl. Barely stopping for anything, just hopping away up the bar crawl. Big dismount, makes the landing, sprint to the wall, starts hopping once again. Eternal Flame. One of the fastest competitors in Halo jumping currently, and really putting that on display here. Sends the log off, still with above 80 seconds to go when the log started rolling. Eternal slip back though, Eternal slip back, and has been knocked off the back of the rolling log. So no 7th trip to stage 2 today for Eternal. Next up is Tunv 101, the final competitor who made their first clear in the last tournament. Got taken out on the cattle grid in stage 2. Looking to get back for revenge, was very close to beating the stage 2 on debut, or on stage 2 debut in the last tournament. And Tunv, you figure if he gets another crack at it, he should be able to get it done. The rest of stage 1 stands between him and another crack at the cherry though. Tunv makes the dismount, now onto the wall. Starts to climb, keeps it crouched, staying back away from the wall to not hit his head. Tunv's got the wall figured out, up and over. Now onto the rolling log, sends the log on its merry way. Tunv down the slope, controlled dismount, makes the landing, now onto the curtain slider. Second ledge to the third, goes for the 4th, lands it, saves. Big jump to the 5th, saves again. Tunv erring a bit on the side of caution so far, choosing to go up high. Skips that final set of ledges. Tunv now onto the Tree of Woe. Seen D-Mills get bumped off here and seen the perils that this obstacle can create, but no problem for Tunv. Now he's lining up Crash Mountain. Tunv gets hit straight back and he gets returned to sender. Tunv down and out and won't be getting another shot at stage 2 today. Up next, Tournament 6's first place finisher. This is Vulcan. He's looking for his 8th stage 1 clear today. He's only failed stage 1 once in the past. And Vulcan through the turbines to that 4th ring. Now dropping into the waveform. Makes that transfer, lands it. Goes for the dismount, lands that as well. Now climbing up the bar crawl all the way to the top. 8th rung for Vulcan, lands it. Another competitor getting there with 95 seconds on the clock. And climbing up the wall, Vulcan up there with the fastest of them at the moment. Another competitor in the HT Supercross Next series. putting his mongoose skills on display every Tuesday night. And Vulcan into the curtain slider. Goes to that fourth ledge. The fifth goes up high, drops back down low, uses the momentum. And Vulcan beats the obstacle. Now onto the Tree of Woe. Backing up away from that center pillar. Making his way up to the top. Going past where he needs to. Vulcan drops down onto the safety platform. Now it's just Crash Mountain to go. 45 seconds left on the clock. Plenty of time for Vulcan. But he's getting rolled back, and Crash Mountain's rejected him. Vulcan down and out at the last, and that's going to mark his second Stage 1 fail ever. Next up is the Worker of Meme. He's cleared Stage 1 4 times, but on paper, the Worker of Meme, one of the most consistent competitors on this course. 7 tournaments out of the 11 he has competed in, he's managed to place within the top 10. So Meme, you can always trust to go well. And he's beaten the waveform in good time, skips up to the second ledge on the bar crawl. Meme, using those angles. On the climb, all the way up to the top. Big drop down, lands it. Now onto the wall. Jumps straight into the wall. He's using his shin knocker strategy. Jumps into the ledges with enough momentum to get over the lip, and the Worker of Meme, he's got a plan. He's sticking to it, and he sends the rolling log on its way. Meme down the slope. Big dismount, almost overshoots, but manages to pull it back. Didn't go the same way as Pedro and Cyrus, and Meme now into the curtain slider. Not hanging around, having to get a couple of save jumps though. Meme goes up high, all the way up to the top. Big drop down, and now onto the Tree of Woe. Backing away from that central column. Meme hopping up to the top. Dropping onto the safety platform, waiting for a gap in the traffic, and then the Worker of Meme takes on Crash Mountain once again. Meme charging headlong at the balls, taking a swipe at them. Getting pushed around, he's getting beaten up, but he's not they're not slowing him down. Meme continually making forward progress under the waterfall. Hits that last ball out the way, makes the jump, hits the landmine. 16.05 seconds left on the clock, and the Worker of Meme, for the 5th time, is going back to Stage 2. You can see there Irish has dropped down to celebrate with him. Can't quite connect with the punch as Meme runs around. We'll see him on Stage 2. But now, we've got 6 competitors left to take on Stage 1. And one of them is Fireball ZXZ. 8 times a Stage 1 clear, looking for his 9th today. Former holder of both Stage 1 and Stage 2 speed records. And Fireball, very, very fast competitor, up there with the best of the best, and you can never really bet against him for doing well. Fireball quickly up the bar crawl. Obviously a multi-talented gamer, yet another competitor who's doubling up with the HT Supercross Next Series, actually the winner of the preseason race, passing D Mills in the last corner move that he was very proud about. Went viral on Instagram, but Fireball very quickly, he's already beaten the first 5 obstacles. Beat the rolling log quicker than it takes most people to get there. Fireball very quickly through the curtain slider, absolutely rapid, still 67 seconds left as he makes the landing onto the Tree of Woe. Fireball climbing up, makes the corner wrap, avoids the balls. Fireball now onto Crash Mountain. Still over 50 seconds to go. Fireball absolutely destroying this stage at the moment. Letting the balls come to him. Hopping over them, getting rolled backwards. Fireball up and over again. He's hopping on top of the balls like they're a pathway. Fireball under the waterfall, makes the jump, makes the landing, hits the buzzer. 34.25 seconds. The fastest time of the day thus far, and Fireball makes it 7 through to the second stage. Way to go, Fireball. We have 5 competitors still to go, and they are statistically the best of the last few tournaments. Up next is RPG445, and speaking of best of the last few tournaments, the previous 3 results for ROG: 6th place, 5th place, 5th place. Looking to go a couple better today. Rog drops into the waveform, makes the transfer, comes up short, manages to save it. Rog with the skill to keep it in, to keep his run alive. The Spartan Sasuke host now climbing up the bar crawl all the way to the top final bar. Goes for the dismount. Bit shaky early from Rog, but he's still alive. Got a bit of time to make up as he starts to climb the wall. Sticking to that extreme right hand side, up and over. Onto the rolling log. Hops on, sends the log on its way down the slope. Rog hanging off the front, save jumps, early dismount, lands it, now onto the curtain slider. Just about a minute left on the clock for Rog. He's made up the time he needed to make up. Makes the jump, saves it, goes up high, drops back down low. Rog using the momentum to breeze through the rest of the obstacle. Now onto the Tree of Woe. And Rog climbing back and forth, all the way to the tippity top. Drops down onto the platform, avoids those first couple of balls. Now he's attacking Crash Mountain, still north of 30 seconds, and Rog's got a good cycle. Makes it halfway up before he even encounters a ball, hops across the top of a huge bunch of them there. Rog swinging away, punching the balls, gets one on the head, but he's gonna make it across. 16.58 seconds for Rog, and that is another clear in the books. What, 4 in a row for Rog now? We're seeing him back on stage 2. Up next is Hunter Unit 751. He made it all the way to stage 3 for his first time in the last tournament, but he's never managed to get 2 stage 1 clears in back-to-back tournaments. Will that change today? As Hunter sets off through the turbines, zigzagging his way through. Now he's going to drop into the waveform. Goes for that transfer, makes it. Goes for the landing, makes that as well. Now onto the bar crawl. Hunter starts to climb all the way up to the top. Big jump for the dismount, and Hunter now onto the wall. Going for the right hand path. Hunter all the way up, piece of cake. And Hunter moving well today, still 80 seconds on the clock as the rolling log starts to move. Keeping it under control, goes for this wrangle, goes for the save, but he doesn't make it on the dismount. He comes up short, and Hunter's record of never going back to back still stands. Speaking of someone who has gone back to back though, this is Sonic Fan, and he has never failed stage 1 in his 4 appearances thus far. He's also never finished outside of the top 3, so Sonic, a very strong competitor since we've gone to 100 competitor tournaments. Finished first place in tournament 11, and Sonic breezing through the waveform, climbing up the bar crawl, and even as good as Sonic is, still going for the angle strat. Sonic drops down now towards the wall. Hops on, starts to go to the right hand side. Sonic all the way up to the top, goes for the skip, makes it. Got a little bit of time to make up against the fastest people, but he's well on course time wise. Hanging off the front of the log, goes for the save, early dismount, but Sonic doesn't come up short, doesn't overshoot, hits it like Goldilocks, and he's going for a ledge skip there, and Sonic really upping the momentum through the curtain slider. Using the momentum to help him get through the obstacle. Now onto the Tree of Woe, Sonic climbing. Staying back from that center column all the way up to the top. Just like Ump and Rog, choosing to climb all the way up. Still over 40 seconds despite that though. Sonic onto Crash Mountain, big hurdle, skips 4 balls in one go. Gets faked out by the obstacle there, he's resorted to the sword. Punching his way through, making those marginal gains. He's got a blocker. Sonic under the waterfall, big jump, hits the landmine at 21.98 seconds, and that is now 9 competitors through. After a bit of a grim start, the final 15 are really turning up the heat, and we still have 2 of the best competitors waiting in the wings. And here's one of them, the Tournament 11 first place finisher. This is Kiraria, calling him the wrong name in the last tournament. But rarely for Joey, he's actually going for back-to-back tournaments with the same gamer tag. And he's underway for his 120 seconds. You wouldn't expect he'd need them though. The current speed record holder on both Stage 1 and Stage 2 set in the last tournament. Kiraria moves like lightning on these courses, and he's already hopping up to the top of the bar crawl. Big dismount, a good second or two quicker than anybody else at this point already, and that was a very clean start. All the way up the wall. Rolling log up next. He's sending the log on its way. 85 seconds before he's even touched the log, and the log's halfway down the slope. Kiraria making light work of this so far, nearly overshoots. Manages to pull it back, now onto the curtain slider. Third ledge to the fourth, drops down. Starts to build up the speed, goes up high, drops back down again. Keeps the momentum all the way through to the Tree of Woe. Hops on. Starts to climb, making sure he's up away from that center pillar. Making sure he's got the gap to jump into above him. Now he makes it to the platform. Lets this wave of balls go through, and now 45 seconds left. Kiraria versus Crash Mountain. And Kiraria hurdling over the balls, jumping off the top of them. He's going to make it under the waterfall, makes the jump, hits the landmine. 33.68 seconds. Not the fastest time of the day, but it's right behind, and Kiraria makes it double digits onto Stage 2. And next up is the 5-time first place finisher, Fremimo Direct. He's looking to become the first person, he's already the first person to have multiple first places. Now he's looking to be the first person to back-to-back first places. So Free looking to not only beat the course, but beat the competition as well. And he's already beaten the turbines, dropping into the waveform. Beats that with ease. Free, he's competed in every tournament. He's only failed Stage 1 on 3 occasions. Tournament 1, 7, and 12. Every other time he's made it through. So the stats are definitely with him. 85 seconds to the top of the wall. Hopping onto the rolling log, sending it on its way. Supported well in the background once again. Free, little dismount, now on to the curtain slider. First ledge, second, skips the third, goes for speed. Keeps the momentum up all the way through. And lands it. Now onto the Tree of Woe. Over a minute left on the clock. Free starts to climb. Making sure he's backed up away from that central column all the way up to the top. 50 seconds to go. Fremimo Direct versus Crash Mountain once again. Possibly the most one-sided rivalry ever. Crash Mountain's been trying to take him out the whole time. But Free resorting to punching. Making progress inch by inch. Hopping up and over those couple of balls there. Gets a nice punch. Makes the jump. Makes the landing. Hits the landmine. 26.21 seconds left on the clock. And Fremimo Direct once again makes it through to Stage 2. Bringing our grand total to 11 competitors heading on. And those will be Fireball ZXZ with the fastest time, with Kiraria just in behind. Smoky Massacre through the third fastest time, just a hair under 30 seconds to go. Fremimo Direct's made it through once again, as does Super Ninja Jake and Sonic Fan. Ryan24107 makes his first trip to Stage 2 alongside RPG445. The Worker of Meme and Disappoint all beating the buzzer, and then Ump Double Ump with the absolute buzzer beater to round out our Stage 2 field. And let's see what they'll have to face. And Stage 2 remains unchanged from the previous tournament. The only difference is 5 seconds less on the time limit. Opening up once again with the pyramid scheme, the 3 pyramids with the cylinders sticking out. Make your way across them any way you see fit, and then drop down into the mine shaft. Head along the corridor and then up the ledges to the top, at which point the Olympic rings stand ready and waiting for you. The 5 antenna dishes Make your way along the antennas one by one. Makes the dismount, now onto the Mongoose cliffhanger. Hop on the Mongoose, head along the angled rail, make the jump both in the middle and to the landing platform, which will set you up for the U-turn, the big wall turn with the bumps in it, and a narrow landing platform. Down the ramp, then towards the cattle grid, the split rails, the 2 sections of split rails with the drop in between. Don't get your Mongoose stuck in any of those holes, and then finishing up with the rolling road, the round road with the little hop in the middle, and then the big ramp up towards the speed check jump at the end. Hit the landmines, and if you're doing that in 95 seconds or under, you'll be heading on to stage 3. Now let's see how our 11 remaining competitors fare. First up is the only newcomer to stage 2. This is Ryan. He's been a couple of close run things on stage 1 before, and he's finally made it across the line today. So let's see how Ryan fares as he goes up and over the first pyramid, makes it to the second, over the top of the second, down the backside, transfers to the third, makes it all the way up and over the top, drops down, and now Ryan into the mine shaft, sticking close to that left-hand fence, does the skip as well, the camera flies into the roof, really need to get better camera operators, makes the second skip as well. Ryan looking at home on this stage 2, quickly through to the third ring, the fourth, the fifth, and Ryan on stage 2 debut gets to the Mongoose cliffhanger. Let's see how he is on 4 wheels. Ryan looking okay, but he's not made the cleanest transfer, and Ryan slips and slides, falls off the edge, and Ryan's journey is over for this tournament. Up next is Disappoint. Back-to-back stage 2s for him. Let's see how he fares this time around. 95 seconds underway as Disappoint scrambles up that first pyramid, slides down the back, gets momentum for the jump to the second, up and over the top, slides down once again, uses the momentum, piece of cake for Disappoint, up and over, now drops into the mine shaft. Disappoint now along the corridor, onto the ledges, he's also going for that skip straight away. There's the halfway turnaround, Disappoint going for that skip again. Now big jump, makes it, saves it, now onto the Olympic rings. First ring, gets himself squared away. Second ring, save jumps. Goes for the third, save again. Disappoint to the fourth. Another save, goes for the fifth, lands it, touch and go, now onto the Mongoose. Disappoint, dropping into the Mongoose cliffhanger. Starts to up the pace, he's going to go for the speed technique and it doesn't quite pay off. Similar to Ryan, a bit of a poor transfer, and that is Disappoint undone. Next up we have Super Ninja Jake 2. It's his 4th appearance on the second stage, and Jake's 95 seconds are underway. Should be very familiar with the opening part of the stage is Super Ninja Jake. Up and over the second pyramid with ease, now climbing the third. Slides down the back, makes the jump into the corridor of the mine shaft. Makes his way along, hops up. Jake also going for the skip, seems to be the common strategy now. Up through the second set of ledges, now to that second bar. And now Super Ninja Jake against the Olympic rings. Oh, very nearly overshot the first one, saved it, pulled it back. And Jake saves on the second, goes for the third, speed to the fourth, lands it, saves, goes for the fifth, and he's overshot the fifth ring. Super Ninja Jake down and out, and the Olympic rings claims its first victim of the tournament. Next up is Ump Double Ump. He's been to stage 2 3 times, but that was on the old look stage 2 back in tournaments 1 to 3. So plenty of new obstacles in the path of Ump Double Ump. But he starts with climbing the pyramid scheme up to the point, slides down, makes the transfer early, starts to climb up and over the second one up to the point, goes for an early transfer, doesn't slide down the entire pyramid. So Ump with a different approach. after this obstacle, up and over the top, slides it down, now into the mine shaft. Making his way along the corridor onto that first ledge. He's going for the skip to the first bar. Second set of ledges, electing to not skip the second time. But he's made it all the way up. Big jump to the bar. And now he's beaten the Olympic rings in his previous stage 2 appearances. Can he match that again today? Second ring, going for the third, straight to the fourth and the fifth. But he comes up short on the dismount, double down and out on the Olympic rings today. Next up is Smoky Massacre, the Halo Ninja Warrior host, well supported on the start line for his 4th attempt at stage 2, and his 95 seconds are off. Smoky went out on the mine shaft in the last tournament, to the shock of many watching the tournament when it came out. Smoky didn't even manage a top 15 with that performance. He's done better than that today, but can he get revenge on the mine shaft? He's at the point he came up short last time, he's beaten it. Now can he finish off the obstacle all the way up to the top, to the second bar? Smoky gets revenge for the last tournament. Now into the Olympic rings very quickly, through the first 3, through the first 4, first 5, makes the landing. Now he's on to the Mongoose cliffhanger. Not the most confident on a Mongoose is Smoky, but he's looking cool, under control. And he's going to be the first person today to attempt the U-turn. Smoky going for a low speed strategy with a high arc, but he doesn't make the distance. Smoky slides out, and Smoky Massacre down and out on stage 2 once again. Next up, the Worker of Meme. For his 95 seconds, Meme in the previous tournament overshot the landmines and went out as close to the finish of stage 2 as you can get. Now can he fare better with a second bite of the same course? 5 seconds left on 5 seconds less on the time limit won't be to Meme's liking though, as he heads off down the mine shaft into the climbing section, up through the first set of ledges, now onto the second set. Meme to the back of the mine shaft, makes the jump to the second bar, now onto the Olympic rings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, dismount easy as you like, and now the Worker of Meme onto the Mongoose cliffhanger, still with 50 seconds on the clock, as he gets onto the obstacle in earnest. The Worker of Meme keeping things under control, beats the obstacle, now onto the U-turn, goes fast, goes high, down on the brakes, and the Worker of Meme beats the obstacle. Now lining up the cattle grid, he had no problem with this in the last tournament. Meme taking it gingerly, keeping it on that middle section of split rail, but he's made it across, and now just the rolling road to beat. Meme making sure he's in a straight line before he hits this first jump. Any deviation off to the side will punish you quite harshly, but Meme along towards that final little hop, and unlike last tournament, he scrubbed the speed off. Worker of Meme lands it, the klaxon sounding, but he's gonna hit the buzzer. 2.74 seconds left on the clock, but that is the Worker of Meme getting to stage 3 for the first time in his The Elite Challenge career. He will be very pleased with that. And with 6 competitors to go, will anyone else be able to join him? Next up is Fireball, and Fireball has beaten stage 2 a few times in the past. Definitely one of the most confident people on a Mongoose of anyone who regularly competes in these courses, so you've got to consider Fireball in good shape to get another clear under his belt. Quickly through the pyramid scheme, now down the mine shaft, starts to climb up the ledges, goes for the skip on the second set, goes for the skip there as well, to the back to the second ledge, and now into the Olympic rings, straight to the third and the fourth and the fifth, and then the dismount for Fireball, hops onto the Mongoose, lines up the Mongoose cliffhanger, and Fireball keeping things gentle, making sure to hug the wall, starts to build up a bit of speed for the U-turn, loses the speed though, and Fireball, he doesn't make the distance. Fireball down and out on the U-turn. Next up is RPG 445. He got his first stage 2 clear in the last tournament, and he's now looking for back-to-back stage 3 appearances, which will be only the third different person to achieve that, joining both Free and Fireball in that very select group. And Rog up and over, up the third pyramid, sliding down the back into the mine shaft. Now along the corridor, up the sides, all the way to that first beam. Second set of ledges. Rog also doing the skip, and now onto the Olympic rings. First ring to the second. Save. Goes for the third. Now the fourth. Save again. To the fifth. And now to the landing. Rog, 50 seconds to go. Onto the Mongoose cliffhanger. And Rog keeping things smooth, under control. Nearly rode up the back of the wall there, but manages to avoid it. Now onto the U-turn, goes low speed, low arc, and Rog's gonna make it. Gets himself turned around and now is absolutely crawling towards the cattle grid. Rog clearly still nervous of this obstacle, gives it a jet of pace, nearly slides off the side, but Rog through the cattle grid. Now it's just the rolling road to beat. And he did it in the last tournament. Can he remember how to Goldilocks this final jump? RPG 445 to the final little hop, makes it across. No landmine, but he hits the pole nonetheless. 9.65 seconds. Doesn't quite beat the klaxon, but still beats the stage. And RPG 445 becomes only the third different person to get to stage 3 in back-to-back tournaments. Now, can Sonic Fan follow him and become the fourth? Sonic made it through in the previous tournament, cracked his stage 2 duck, and he's now underway. 95 seconds on the clock for Sonic. Up the first pyramid, transfer to the second, up and over the top, sliding down the back, now to the third, up and over that as well. Sonic sliding down into the mine shaft, sticking close to that left hand wall. Now, oh, little test hop there for Sonic, makes the skip to the first ledge. Now up the second set, makes the skip there as well. Second bar and straight into the Olympic rings. Touch and go on the first one, but overshoots the second, and Sonic out early. Next up is Kiraria. He's looking also to go back to back on stage 2 for his first time. 95 seconds underway for Kiraria. Up and over the pyramid scheme, sliding down the back. Over the top of the second pyramid, sliding down, transfer to the third. Up and over that as well. Kiraria very quickly through the first obstacle. Now into the mine shaft, heading down the corridor. Up the first set of ledges, making the skip to the first bar. Second set. Second beam, and straight into the Olympic rings. First ring, second, builds up the speed. Third, fourth, fifth, and Kiraria beats the obstacle. 55 seconds on the clock as he drops into the Mongoose cliffhanger. Kiraria says he's not the most confident at the Mongoose-based obstacles, but he's still very good at them. One of the best statistically on this course. And now he's onto the cattle grid. Injection of pace, gets across the first drop. Kiraria, careful he doesn't get stuck in the hole, manages to drag the Mongoose back out of it, and now onto the rolling road. Makes the little hop, and now along the drive up. Makes the speed check, drops in. He also hits the buzzer. 18.98 seconds to go. Not as quick as he was in the last tournament, but Kiraria becomes the fourth person to get to stage 3 in back-to-back tournaments. Congratulations to him. And that makes it 3 through to stage 3 so far. Can Free make it 4? Primamo Direct, the most successful competitor on the Elite Challenge Stage 2. He's beaten it in tournaments 3, 5, 8, 10, 11, 13. Can he make it 14 as well? It's Free onto the second pyramid, up and over. Makes the transfer to the third, starts to climb, slides down the back, Free into the mine shaft. Now along the corridor, careful not to fall in the holes. Starts to climb up Makes it to the ledge, all the way up very quickly as well. Second ledge, directly into the Olympic rings. First ring, second ring, third ring, fourth ring, fifth ring. Only slowing down to a bit of hang time. Frimomo direct now onto the Mongoose cliffhanger. A little bit cautious on the way in, that's never a bad thing. Free picks the pace up a bit though, now onto the U-turn. Sends it high, does a 360, lands on the tail. Free has to gun it to not fall off the landing, but he's all squared away now as he heads into the cattle grid. Taking that drop down very cautiously indeed. Free starts to pick the pace up again, 25 seconds left on the clock. Makes the jump in the rolling road, and Free, if he can land this speed check, will be heading back to stage 3 once again. And sure enough he does, 15.64 seconds left as Frimomo hits the pole to make it 4 competitors making it through to stage 3. And Free once again with a very good time. And those 4 competitors, just a reminder, Kiraria with the fastest time for the second tournament in a row, ahead of Frimomo Direct. RPG 445 for his second tournament in a row, and the Worker of Meme will be making his stage 3 debut with 2.74 seconds left on the clock. So nonetheless we have 4 competitors still standing. Will any of them become the first person to beat the third stage? And what's in store for them is also remaining unchanged from the last tournament. Begin by charging up the ramp towards the disaster box. Make your way jumping from the angled ledges, up, down, back up and back down again. So momentum conservation, a big thing there. And then next up, the treacherous pointy path. The cones, hard to land on a very narrow surface at the top. If you beat that, then you'll be greeted with dangerous, the hanging fence panels with a very low roof. Get through there and then you're on to the cliffhanger. Zigzag your way up the wall as it hangs in above you. You can make your way up there, then drop into the trust fall. A big drop down, a narrow ledge to hit, and a blind leap of faith to the safety platform that'll lead you to the globe grasp. The flying orbs, use them to cross the gap, and then the French twist, the spot where the previous tournament ended. Both Free and Kiraria getting this far in the last tournament, and neither of them unable to best the obstacle. Enjoying its new home on the third stage. Make your way across that and you'll be greeted with the doom gaps. The corner wraps either side of the wall, they're identical. Make your way across the gap and then you'll be greeted with the final obstacle of stage 3, the unbeaten destiny rails. Make it up those and then make the jump to the finishing buzzer. You'll be greeted with the attempt at stage 4. Nobody's gotten this far so far in the Elite Challenge history. Will that change today? 4 competitors still standing, 4 attempts. Let's see if anyone can make it. And the first of those attempts, the only stage 3 debutant, will beginner's luck help out the Worker of Meme. He's spent plenty of time practicing on this stage in previous tournaments, preparing to defeat the cliffhanger at the first chance, the first time of asking. Now he's finally got a chance to put that practice to good use. How will he fare? Well supported at the start line, but now he's on his own, and the Worker of Meme heads up the slope towards the disaster box. No time limit, away we go. And the Worker of Meme still rocking the Santa hat. Will that bring him good luck? He's on the first ledge. Making sure not to get caught under that lip. Big jump to the second ledge, makes it. Once again, very cautious along that second ledge, hops to the third. making sure to get himself unstuck from that little lip. And Meme up to the top of the disaster box for the first time. Save jumps a couple of times just to be sure, but now he's onto the first drop down. Hits the first ledge, hits the second, makes the save. Meme now into the second the second climbing section of the disaster box. Backed right up against the wall, makes the jump just about, lands it. Creeps his way along to the edge, Meme back across. Being very careful is the worker of Meme. He knows one mistake and this is all over. And all this practice he's put in, he wants to beat the cliffhanger. That was his big goal. He makes the drop down, saves it, and he hits the dismount, and he's very happy with that. Next up is the pointy path, and the worker of Meme taking a second, lining it up, shooting the path. He's not a huge fan of it. Definitely doesn't want it to take him out. And the worker of Meme onto the pointy path, first pillar. Save jumps. Goes for the second cone. Save jumps again. Make sure to get himself happily central. Meme turns about. Goes for the third. Once again, save jumps. Gets himself set and ready for that next jump. Meme panicking a little bit. Gotta keep it under control. One lapse in concentration, one lapse in judgment, and it'll all be over. And that'll be a shame having come this far. Meme makes the next cone. Save jumping away. 2 to go. Makes that one. Final cone. Meme makes it, lands it, touch and go, and the worker of Meme beats the pointy path. Now on to dangerous. This low passage made even lower by the beam down the center, so Meme sticking it to the right hand side of each of these fence panels. Slow but steady progress, makes the crossover towards the left. Final few panels for Meme. 3 to go, 2 to go, 1 to go, and the worker of Meme beats dangerous. And now this is what he's been wishing for several tournaments now. The worker of Meme against the cliffhanger. He's put in a lot of work to beat this obstacle. Let's see if he can when it counts. As Meme lines up the jump into the cliffhanger. First ledge to the second. And the third. Sprints to the fourth. Meme saves. Keeps going. Saves again. And he makes the first cross. Now to go back on yourself. Meme jumps up high. Ledge by ledge, he's making his way through the obstacle. Big jump now from Meme. Saves it again. Now back to climbing. Does the short hop. Now to the barrels. Meme. This is the halfway mark at this point, and he's tucked right into that angle, not letting himself get pushed off by the angled wall. Not even choosing to dare to turn around, he's just keeping his forehead straight to the wall. Makes his way along the paths. Now up to the barrels. Gets himself squared away, zigzagging. Next up, the concrete blocks. Quick touch off the top of the first one. Now he's got a big run up. Makes it to the barrel. Saves. Now he's got to wrap it around the air pipe. All the way up to the top. Can the worker of Meme get it done? Only a couple more jumps left. But he comes up short, and the worker of Meme plummets out. And it's cliffhanger 1, Meme 0. A game performance though on stage 3 debut. Now here's RPG 445. His second appearance on the third stage. Looking to do better than he did previously. Going out on the disaster box in the last tournament. And Rog can see the experience gained, how much quicker he is than me. Up to the top, makes the drop down, first ledge, second, saves it, pulls it back in, and Rog now starts to climb up the second section, makes the transfer, and he's gonna line up to go back across, make sure he doesn't get stuck under that lip, and Rog, last ledge of this upward section, makes the jump to the concrete, final drop down, goes right, goes left, saves it, and second time's the charm. RPG 445 beats the disaster box. Now he's onto the pointy path. First cone, save jumps, looks for that second cone, save jumps again. Rog trying to back up to give himself a half step of run up, and he uses it, makes the jump, saves it again. Rog lining up that next cone, and he goes for it, lands it, saves again. Everything's going to plan so far for Rog, makes that next cone, lining up the next big jump, giving himself as much distance as he feels comfortable with. And Rog sends it, but he doesn't make it, he comes up short. RPG 445 down and out on the pointy path. Two competitors left standing, and it's two of the competitors who have had the best runs on this stage 3 in its history, but also the top two competitors from the last tournament. Both Kiraria and Free made it to the French twist, and they're both going to be looking to do better today. Kiraria, up the climb of the disaster box, into the first drop down, saves that, into the second climbing section, unhooks himself from the lip, and Kiraria, you can see the experience gap between Kiraria and Rog, how much faster Kiraria feels confident doing this stage, beats the disaster box. Now onto the pointy path. Kiraria, second cone, saves it, lines up the third, saves that as well, goes for the fourth, straight to the fifth, uses the momentum through to the sixth, saves, and Kiraria, touch and go, beats the pointy path. Now onto dangerous. This has taken him out twice before. He learned his lesson since then. In his previous two attempts has beaten it, and now goes 3 in a row against dangerous. And Kiraria now onto the cliffhanger. He's beaten this a couple of times before. Can he do it again today? Makes it all the way across the first pass. Now he's starting to head back as he zigzags up the wall. Makes that big jump, makes the short hop up. Now onto the barrels. 1, 2, 3, and onto the halfway part. No, he isn't! And Kiraria! He slipped and slid and he slid off the obstacle. And now, just as we've had a couple of times now, this is FreeMMO Direct, the only person left standing in the tournament. Hunter Unit there getting his screen time, cheering Free on before Free's 7th attempt at this stage 3. And Free heads on to stage 3. The most experienced competitor at this stage, onto the disaster box. It's underway. Left, right, up and over the central divide, drops down, right, left, save jumps, into the second climbing section. Then he starts to zigzag his way up, making sure not to get stuck under that lip, but Free, up and over. He's beaten this obstacle several times now, knows exactly what he's doing. And now FreeMMO Direct onto the pointy path. Nearly comes up short of the first cone, that would have been considered an upset, but Free save jumps, makes it to the third cone, another save, choosing to back up a fraction to the fourth, saves again, going for the fifth, saves, backs up for the half step of run up, makes the distance, Free, one more cone, touch and go. Free beats the pointy path once again. He was nervous about that obstacle and he's very happy to beat it. Now on to dangerous. Free taking his time. There's a lot of focus on the pointy path. He's given himself, taking advantage of the fact there's no time limit to get himself mentally prepared for dangerous. And Free into the obstacle. First fence, second, third, hopping away, makes the cross, starts hopping again. Free, one more, skips the last one, and now Frimo Direct onto the cliffhanger. And very quickly makes the first pass. Turns about, starts to zigzag. Big hops for Free. Save jumps. Heads up, once, twice, now onto the barrels. Free. This is where Joey came unstuck, and he's made it onto that halfway ledge. Making it across. And now some more barrels. What it does guarantee is it's going to be a PC gamer that's going to take first place this tournament. But will it be Free or will it be Meme? We'll find out in the next few jumps. As Free onto the barrels. Needs to wrap around the air conditioning. And he hits it, but he falls and he saves it further down. Free getting a second chance at the cliffhanger. And he's gonna need to not make sure it doesn't go to waste. Free back across. Made this look easy on his first pass, this low attempt, or this low section. Free, gotta get locked back in. He's got a second chance at it. Needs to make sure to not waste it. Back up to the halfway ledge. Heading across the cliffhanger. And now he's heading back up, zigzagging. Once, twice, thrice. Now onto the concrete. Quick touch and go. Big sprint. Saves it. And here's where it all went wrong before. Can he make the slight wrap? Yes, he can. On top of the vent. Big jump for Free. Makes it across. Final ledge, and Frimo Direct beats the cliffhanger. And in doing so becomes the first person in the Elite Challenge history to back-to-back first places. Now he's first place secured. How far can he go? Makes the drop, makes the truss fall. Now onto the globe grasp. This has beaten him way back in Tournament 3. And Free, making every jump count. Knows he can't take this obstacle lightly. Hopping away, hopping through, on the descent, and he's gonna beat the obstacle. Next up is the French twist. It took him out in the last tournament, but Free had beaten it in every single tournament that he'd gotten to stage 3 in the past. And Free heads onto the French twist. Through the blue section, now to the white section. Looking to make the transfer. Smooth as you like, Free across. Can he keep it under control? Needs to avoid the bumps. Frimo Direct makes it to the red section. And Frimo Direct beats the French twist. The first person to beat stage 2 with the French twist on becomes the first person to beat the stage 3 version. And now Free onto the Doom Gaps. He's beaten this before. He's in fact the only person to have ever beaten this obstacle. Can he do it again? Free lining up that first jump, trying to figure out which side of the wall is easiest. They're both exactly the same, it's just whichever you feel comfortable with, but Free to the third gap, the fourth, now it's the big one. And he can't wrap in time. Frimo Direct down and out on the Doom Gaps. And once again the tournament ends on the Doom Gaps. Frimo Direct getting the furthest of anybody, but what a tournament that was. We saw a lot of people setting personal bests, a couple of people joining the Stage 3 back-to-back club, but Frimo takes first place once again. And as we head into Tournament 15, the road to 1,000 competitors will finally be finished. But will anyone be able to conquer the Elite Challenge? We'll see you next time and find out. Goodbye.